All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Judy Hess. I am the president of the APTA Orthopedic uh, Academy, and I welcome you and open our annual member meeting. I'm going to start the meeting with everybody still on the page so we can sort of see each other. But I would like to ask initially if everyone wouldn't mind muting your microphone if it's not muted already. That way we make sure we don't have any unexpected background noise. I apologize to any of you who would like to be watching President Trump's address. Some of you probably don't want to watch it, but I didn't know I would be competing with the President of the United States at this time, but I appreciate you being here. Um, for the introductions, what I'd like to do is ask everybody to turn their cameras off. I'd like to introduce a few special people. And so in doing that, really the best way I think we can do that is to, when I announce the groups and the individuals, if I mention you, just please turn your camera on for a moment. And if you're in the background, you can sort of scroll through. So I'd like to start by introducing the current APTA Orthopedic Board of Directors. Do we have James Spencer, who's our Vice President, Tim Brinker, our Treasurer, Taylor Adkins, Secretary, Derek Swecki, Director, Nancy Bloom, Director, Annette Karam, Director, Kathleen Geist, also a Director, Eric Folkens is our Education Chair, Jeff Taylor is our Research Chair, and Matt Highland is our Practice Chair. So on behalf of the board, we'd like to welcome you all. Hopefully you can put a face with the name now if you haven't done that before. And we certainly appreciate everything that our board has done for us and will continue to do over the next several years. So thank you very much. The next group that I would like to recognize is our AOPT staff. APTA orthopedic staff. So if any of our staff are on the call, I know there's a few of you out there. Would you please put your camera back on just for a minute so we can see your beautiful faces? We've got Terry DeFlorian, our Executive Director, Tara Fredrickson, who's our Assistant Executive Director, Joanne Schultz, our Executive Assistant, Sharon Kalinsky is our OP and ISC Managing Editor, Jessica Ingraham is our new CPG Managing Editor, Haley Kotek and Amber Florence, our Marketing Specialist and Communications Coordinator. Christy Kruger is our Administrative Coordinator, and Deb Thurston is our bookkeeper. So nothing in the Academy happens without the help of this group of individuals. They keep us running, and we really appreciate everything that you do for us. So thank you very much. For those of you out there, let's give a little jazz hands for all of our staff. So thanks to the staff, and thanks for being here tonight. At this time, I'd like to have a special welcome to any of our past presidents of the Academy. If you are a past president, I know we have at least one on the call. If you would please turn your screen on. I see Bill Boysenalt. Thanks for coming, Bill, for all you've done. I can't see my second page. So if anybody's out there, just give us a holler. And then if I could recognize any active duty or retired military persons that are with us on the call, please turn your cameras on for a moment. Not seeing any cameras on, but if we missed you, thank you so much for your service. We appreciate all that you do. Next, we have newly certified orthopedic clinical specialists. Do we have any newly certified clinical specialists on the call with us? Please be recognized. All right. Don't see anybody jumping out, but maybe you're being shy. And then any recertified or currently certified OCS, orthopedic specialists. There we go. Now we're seeing a lot more people. Great. So I think it's important to recognize our clinical specialists. It takes a special person and a special dedication to really commit to that continuing education time and effort, and all that's involved in applying for the OCS or other clinical specialists. And I think it's important that we recognize and see those people as friends and mentors. So thank you very much. So I'm going to share my screen now and bring up my presentation for the meeting. Right. And we're going to fly through the first couple slides because I've already done that. There you can see everybody's names in writing. Okay. At this time, we'd like to just take a moment of silence to remember any of our friends and members who have passed away in the last year. So I ask you to just bow your head for a moment. Thank you very much. We will now continue with our meeting. As for the order of business, we will use modified Robert's Rules of Order. The majority of the agenda is really reporting out. So I would like to ask that as we go through the reports, that you hold your questions or comments till the end. You're welcome to put comments in the chat if you'd like. The link for the agenda and reports is also in the chat. It should be right at the top of the chat if you want to access it that way. Or hopefully you were able to access it through the osteoblast that went out yesterday. So that's available for you as well. Okay. So first order of business then is the approval of the agenda. Does anyone have any objections to the agenda as presented? If you do, please use the chat and just type in object, and we will hear your objection. All right, seeing no objections, we will approve the agenda as is. Our next item of order of business is to approve the virtual membership meeting minutes from 1 year ago yesterday. So these have already been vetted and approved by the board of directors, but we need to have the membership approve them as well. So if there are any objections to approving the membership minutes as recorded and available on our website, please write object in the chat once again. All right, seeing none, we will approve the minutes from last year's meeting and move on. Thank you. Coming up next, we have some reports, and we're going to do things a little differently than we have in the last few member meetings. So all of the reports are available on the website at the link in the chat or that you received with the meeting notice. So we don't have every committee presenting their report. I have a handful of documents here that are all of the reports that are available. And so I really encourage you, you know, if you hear anything that's of interest to you tonight, or hopefully you'll have some time to review those reports. There's so many things that are going on in the organization right now. And it would take us hours to go through and give everyone really the time that they need to really talk about all of the great things that they are doing. So our committee reports are in one document on the website. I would like just to take a moment to thank and acknowledge all of our chairs and all the members of the different committees and subcommittees that have worked, you know, for the last several years with all of these different committees. The work that we do as an academy, you know, just doesn't get done without the direction and supervision of a lot of people putting in their time and their energy and their expertise, and we really appreciate it. I do just want to highlight a couple of things related to the committees. All of our committees have been really busy this year over the last 12 months or so. I did want to recognize the practice committee and research committee and their chairs who have worked over the last year with their teams to put together both a public policy agenda for the academy and the research agenda. And again, you can read more about those specific documents and efforts in the reports. And that doesn't take away from anything else that any of the other groups are doing. I just wanted to kind of highlight those two things in particular that are pretty new for our academy. I'd also like to thank and acknowledge our editors of our clinical practice guidelines, our ISCs and OPTP. We certainly, again, could not do what we do without your expertise and passion and dedication to the practice of orthopedic physical therapy and our organization. So thank you all very much. John Hike, the editor of OPTP, has just finished his second 3-year term, and he will be stepping down, and Carrie Rothschild will be taking over the editor position there. So thank you, John, if you're here, for your service to the academy, and hopefully you'll continue to serve us in other ways. So at this time, I'd like to ask Tim Brinker to unmute and whatever you call doing your video. And he's going to present our treasurer's report.
Thanks, Judy. I'd like to recognize, the hard work this last year yourself, Kyle Adams, Teresa Marco, and Shane have contributed to helping guide our executive team and our board for our next step for our organization's sustainability. You're welcome to change to the next slide, please. So this will give you a short snapshot of some historical perspectives. You'll notice that 2022 and 23, we were running a significant deficit, which is multifactorial, kind of consequences of COVID, changes of membership, as well as reduction in our investments value with the change of the market. Can change to the next slide, please. So this is a summary of our year-end 2024. We had the income of 1.7 million, expense of 2.2 million, with a net profit loss of 532,000. This was within budget and what was planned for. What's not really identified in that loss was we did take $300,000 from our investment to cover for practice and research grants. and we're making inroads to lessen that budget deficit as we go forward to 2025. Can change the slide, please. So this is our current projected budget for 2025. You'll notice our net loss is 50% less of last year, and we've done things to cover that or try to get close to budget neutral by 2026, which has included an increase of our dues and in providing increased benefits to our members to encourage more members to join. And here are our assets. You can see the value from 21 and the drop in 22 related to our investment value. And then 23, a slight increase. And then 24, we had a significant change in the positive side. So next slide, please. So our current value of our 24 funds, we have a reserve fund, our practice and research fund, which is 4.3, our building fund, which helps cover reserves for our building, and our orthopedic foundation fund. You'll notice the green line on the bottom is our current membership starting in January. And so you can see over the last few years, we've seen a progressive decrease in membership. We don't have membership numbers since September because of a change of software by APTA. So that's being worked on, and we should get those final numbers hopefully by the end of the quarter. But you'll hear discussions today about our board, I would assume, in the projections of trying to both increase the memberships as well as increase our income to make us sustainable for long term.
Great. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Again, we will, we're happy to answer any questions as we finish up the reporting. So our next order of business then is our SIG reports. And again, a little bit of change from previous years. We haven't had the SIG leadership here at this member meeting to offer their highlights. Again, the full reports of all of their activities are available online. What I've asked is for each of the SIG presidents to give us basically a 90-second elevator talk, looking at sort of highlighting what they feel are their key achievements or initiatives last year and the next, and then we will move forward from there. So
busy.
I will try not to cut people off. If somebody's not muted, and I'm hearing a little bit of background noise, but I'm going to ask for Sasha to start with the animal physical therapy SIG.
Thank you very much. We really, as a group, have decided to hone in on two primary objectives. These objectives were started last year, and we're just going to continue to move forward with them. Our primary goal is to increase awareness of animal physical therapy across APTA. In our legislative efforts, one of the interesting things we've run into is when we go to state physical therapy boards to try to change legislation, they say, oh, I don't think we do that here. So that's one of our primary goals this year. With a really clear understanding after CSM of how much APT has on their plate, we decided as a SIG to team up with the task force at the Federation of State PT Boards. They were already working on publishing regulation language for legislation. So instead of using APTA resources and Federation resources, we decided we'd like to push the language through the Federation task force, which is already up and running. And then once that language is set, bring that back to APT Orthopedic and make sure that's in alignment with all the changes that have been made in the last year. Once we have that language change and some legislative language that we can share across all states, then we can publish through Federation and potentially through APTA advocacy. Our primary pushes right now are with California and Kentucky. Both are currently opening their veterinary practice acts, and the veterinary practice acts are blocking the ability of physical therapists to practice in those states. So we're trying to work with the physical therapy boards to open the PT practice acts concurrently, and then we can work together on doing language together, veterinarians and physical therapists. That's our really big push. So
I'm gonna have to cut you off there, Sasha, but I
Sounds
appreciate it. And
That
thank
sounds
you
great.
for all the
Thanks for
work that
listening.
you've done. And we will continue now with the foot and ankle SIG and Frank DiLiberto.
Okay, hello, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to speak briefly. I'm going to highlight a few of our objectives. And so all of these objectives are in line with our primary, or these are some of our main initiatives. These all line up with some of our primary objectives, which largely fall under, developing foot and ankle educational content, and supporting research regarding foot and ankle orthopedic practice and disseminating that to the membership, and across audiences, including other ancillary health services and physicians. So here we go. So these have been standing and will be continuing. So we have developed a series of infographics, both clinician and patient versions, that are available on our website, to help educate our membership, as well as make it easier for clinicians to educate their patients on select foot and ankle pathologies. We have started to produce videos that'll be housed on the APTA Orthopedic YouTube channel. And our content here ranges from interviews with researchers, educators, authors, giving highlights from their recent manuscripts. And this is one of our main pushes that we expect to continue, or would like to continue. We have a active and ongoing, and I don't know, 7 years. We've been doing this for 7 years, our collaboration with the American Orthopedic Foot and Ankle Society. This involves providing joint webinars with surgeons and PTs and educational content at their annual conference. We have a half day where we bring NPs, PAs, PTs, MDs together in breakout sessions and discussions and presentations and all that sorts of stuff. We have a student newsletter that's produced by our students, headed up by our student liaison, and that's blasted out to our membership. And then last but not least, we've applied for a fellowship in foot and ankle physical therapy practice, and that application, that revision, is currently under review. So that's what we've been up to. So thanks for your attention.
Thanks, Frank. Next, we have Bruno Steiner from the Imaging SIG.
Hey, happy Mardi Gras, everybody. Listen, this is going to be like drinking from a fire hose. We've been doing a lot. The short answer to everything is that we are essentially advocating PT directed imaging referral and PT administered ultrasound imaging, and which we believe are the cornerstones of primary practice. So I'm essentially dealing with calls from the nation. In many states, we are absolutely actively engaged and so many projects going forward, and states that are coming online to challenge their boards and potentially with legislative actions. We've had really a slew of victories in Nevada, Arizona, Wyoming, Tennessee to Louisiana, Montana, Alaska, and we've very high optimism for North Dakota that are actually going to win their legislative battle, probably going to be coming in this month. We just won actually this month in Wyoming as well. So we have a massive engagement with a national consortium of radiology centers that want our referrals, and so I'm working hard on that. It looks fantastic. Just to give you an idea of the breadth of this, it involves 148 radiology centers in 22 states. And I'm going to continue with the membership meetings. They are highly watched, and it's a great way to advocate. I recommend it to everybody. Thanks.
Bruno, that was impressive. You have 5 seconds left.
I actually timed myself.
Oh, very nice. All right, thank
keep
you.
it going.
Steve Allison, our occupational health president.
Good evening to everyone, and I appreciate 57 participants in tonight's meeting, and great job, Bruno, with what you're doing. You helped us in Louisiana obtain the imaging privileges that we enjoy now. So our major initiatives in Occ Health are creation and expansion of the State Resource Liaison Program to collaborate or to support collaboration of the occupational health PT practice across all states. We have a few positions. We have more than 30 states involved right now, and we're looking for state resource liaisons in the other states. We have an outreach program to DPT programs with lunch and learn presentations about OHPT practice and the benefit of APTA orthopedic membership. So we are encouraging the membership in this organization. We also are promoting advocacy to state licensing boards for PT scope of practice to perform DOT physical exams across the United States, which is regulated by the FMCSA. And we've done presentations with the National Licensing Association to promote this advocacy. We also are developing a path under the OHP certificate program for PTAs to earn an occupational health practitioner associate certificate. And we administered a survey in October of last year, and we had 75% response rate as far as an indication that members and even non-members of our SIG that would endorse this certificate program. And finally, we are looking to assemble a team of OHPT practice experts to update the work rehab CPG, which was published in 2021. So I'll keep it short and sweet.
Thank you, Steve. Next, we have Nancy Durbin from the Pain SIG.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for giving us some time to share what the Pain SIG has been up to. We will be looking at kind of rethinking and how to restructure our pain school. That was one of our big initiatives this year. Our pre-conference course was canceled. So we're trying to figure out, how do we do this now? And we've been thinking maybe we need to go to like a retreat kind of format. So we're looking into how we can restructure that, because there's a lot of great information that we need to get out to the clinicians and to the academicians for this, and for clinical instructors too. So that's our big push. The second thing is looking at micro-learning initiatives. We are going to be expanding our Paincast, which is our kind of blog that we've been doing, bring in a special guest speaker. And then what we've tailed off from that is sometimes we will do our clinical pearls and our research blasts to then you follow what the topic is for our Paincast, so that we have a nice little continual thread there. And so we're looking at, again, that initiative and how we can get that information out better, not by using emails, but by using other ways, the YouTube channels and recording and blogs. We're going to continue to support our pain certification, specialization certification. We'd like to bring more students into the Pain SIG, and also then have a student liaison.
Thank you, Nancy.
Welcome.
And performing arts, Laurel.
Your meeting.
Is Laurel here? Perhaps not. I'll let you just take a moment to sort of read through the screen. Right. And then last but not least, and these were in alphabetical order by the name of the SIG, is Molly Malloy, the president of the Residency and Fellowship SIG.
Hi, everyone. So just a quick recap of what's going on in the Ortho Residency Fellowship SIG. Our big push is CSM. So we had 45 attendees for our pre-conference. And if anyone has any sort of residencies or fellowships within their organization, that pre-con has been going on for about 10 years. And it's a time where everyone who's a residency fellowship director from lots of different specialty areas, not just orthopedics, come together to establish ways to innovate, to have innovative curriculums, to ways to market, ways to get more residents, ways to share resources and things like that. So we will continue to keep pushing the pre-con and it keeps selling. So it seems to be a big fit for lots of residency directors out there. We also did an education session that exposed and shared the research that's been coming out about the value of residency education, not just to the resident of passing boards and things like that, but also the added value that employers get. The residents are more likely to stay for 3 to 6 years post residency within their organization, which saves a lot of money. And there's also less burnout with people that go through a residency program. We also have highlighted residency platforms. So the ortho section has provided us with that. We will continue that. And then our focus for 2025 is we're doing a couple different things to share resources for curriculums to make kind of the work easier for lots of different programs. And we're just going to continue streamlining that through the AOPT. Thanks.
Thank you. So you can see that that was the last of our SIGs. And our SIGs have been amazingly active in terms of practice, education, research, and advocacy. And we are grateful for all that they do, for their individual passions and their individual interests, as well as the Academy in general. So thanks to all. And again, there will be opportunities to ask any particular questions of any of the SIG leaders at the end of the meeting. So at this time, I'd like to just take a few minutes to recognize a few of the special partners of APTA Orthopedics. First and foremost is our publishing partner, JOSPT. As a reminder, all of our members have full access to all of the JOSPT articles that have been published since its inception in 1979. You also have access to Read for Credit discounts on continuing education exams. And then for those of you who aren't aware, there's been a lot of new associated open access journals that JOSPT is expanding to, including the JOSPT Open and Methods. And then, of course, they have their blog and their podcast is JOSPT Insights. So we encourage you to utilize those resources that are available to you. We'd like to recognize the PT PAC. We've heard a great deal about advocacy already, just from hearing what a lot of the SIGs are doing. And that advocacy work is supported greatly by the PT PAC. And we ask you to consider, if you haven't already, make a personal donation. It is tax deductible. It's almost tax time. You know, certainly we have a lot to advocate for, both at the state and the national level, and the PAC is our primary funding source for doing that. So we ask you to support the PT PAC. And also support the Foundation for Physical Therapy Research. You know, we all know how important research funding is. The Academy gave a sizable donation for orthopedic physical therapy research grants. So typically annually, at least one grant is offered through the foundation related specifically to orthopedics. So you can see our 2024 recipient here. For those of you who are interested, there are some information about the research grants, the postdoc fellowships, and the scholarships for your review there. All right. So coming up next, we have the report from the nominating committee, and I believe Paul Minkin, the outgoing chair, will be delivering the report this evening.
All right. Thanks, Judy. So I'll try and keep this short, but my term ended in February. So the new chair is going to be Carolyn Brunst. We also have Manny Young, and then our newest member is Stephanie Pasco. So next slide. So the election results last year, Judy obviously was elected president. Annette and Derek were elected as directors. And as I said, Stephanie Pasco is our new nominating committee member. So next slide. So it's time to call for nominations for 2025. So the positions we have open this year are vice president, director number 3, and nominating committee member. We have a new member every year for that committee. So you can either unmute and nominate somebody, or it would really help to put it in the chat so we can keep track of that. And Manny and Stephanie, I know you're here. If you can help me if there are any nominations. So open up the floor for nominations. Not seeing any. So I think, Judy, I'll turn it back to you. And if you do want to send some nominations in, Carolyn Brunst is the chair of the nominating committee this year. So.
And is there a deadline for the nominations, Paul?
I don't recall. Tara, I think June 1st. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what we would like to keep it at.
Okay. June 1st. Thank you.
We have a shy crowd today, so we're.
Yeah.
All right. So that takes us to the last item on our agenda, which is our strategic initiative. So this is sort of my report. And so I wanted to start just by spending a moment to review our strategic framework. So the board worked with McKinley Associates in 2023-24 to put together our new strategic plan. You can see our mission is to be the driving community, advancing orthopedic physical therapy practice. We really wanted to emphasize the community part of the organization. Our vision, again, in line with APTA, is to transform society by optimizing movement and musculoskeletal health. And APTA is committed to increasing diversity, equity, and inclusion in the academy, the profession, and society. So just to review our 4 strategic drivers that really sort of drive everything that we do as a board and an organization. The first is excellence in practice. And we see that every day in the educational opportunities that are presented by different aspects of the academy. And our CPGs, our independent study courses, all of those things to offer educational opportunities and growth opportunities for our members. Secondly, we have member and professional awareness. We are working hard to work on increasing opportunities along with APTA and increase awareness of physical therapy out there in society, and become, the one of several primary practice sites for orthopedic musculoskeletal health. And so many of our advocacy efforts are based there. Payment and value is at the top of everybody's mind these days, both the reimbursement rates for folks, but also just in general, the value of physical therapy. And that sort of goes with our member and professional awareness. So I'll talk about how we're approaching some of these initiatives here in a few minutes. And then finally, professional well-being, right? The healthcare has been a very stressful time, very stressful career over the last several years. We know that there's been a lot of burden on our members, both administrative burden, financial burden, et cetera. And, you know, to the extent that we can help with those things, we certainly want to do that. We're looking at our member benefits all the time, and trying to figure out how we can meet the needs of our members. And one of the things that we need in order to be able to do that is some of your feedback as well. So that being said, some of the initiatives that are either new or being continued are clinical practice guidelines. We continue to work on and develop new clinical practice guidelines. We talked about that committee already, and they're doing wonderful things. We have recently signed an agreement with PhysioU to help provide access to digital learning opportunities related to the CPGs. So we are working with Mike Wong and his team to make those available. I'm guessing that probably everybody that's on the call has read several of our CPGs. It's not necessarily an easy read all of the time with all of the information that's provided. And we recognize that our members would like to have other ways of gathering that information, and we would like to be able to present it in different formats. So PhysioU is working with us to create short videos and active learning activities so that our members can engage on their phones or their iPads and review some of the CPGs. We're also currently developing an online CPG examination. It's not a certification, but you will receive a CPG certificate that says that you are familiar with and practice according to CPG guidelines. And we will have a registry online for individuals who take that exam. So both of these initiatives should be coming out a little bit later this year. I'm hoping somewhere around third quarter. It seems like they should, you know, we should be able to snap our fingers and do some of these things, but I've learned that the technology behind these, while much of it is already done, connecting the AOPT site, APTA orthopedic site with some of our external sources is a little bit more challenging than I thought. So as soon as we can get those projects launched, we will. We continue to support our independent study. We've already heard about more digital learning opportunities, podcasts, our YouTube channel. Obviously, we have research. We continue to offer research grants each year to facilitate new scholarship and new researchers, as well as existing researchers. And as we talked about, we're in the process of developing our research agenda. So the focus of the board over the last 6 months and over the next year is really going to be on membership. You've seen, you know, the slide that Tim showed us. We've had a gradual decline in membership since 2020 when COVID hit. And that's consistent with both APTA and a lot of other professional associations. So we're not by ourselves by any means. And many of the other sections and academies are feeling similar challenges right now with the APTA or academy membership. We are doing a lot of things behind the scenes that will be coming up, and you'll see over the next several months. Some of them we've already advertised a little bit, others we haven't, but our website's going to be upgraded we'll have the ability to do a lot more networking and communication among and within members and SIGs and engagement communities, et cetera, with discussion boards and resource libraries and a lot of different opportunities. There's so many things going on, and we don't want anybody working in a silo. You know, some of the advocacy efforts, as some of the SIG presidents have talked about, they're doing similar things. And so we all should be working together and knowing what each other's doing. So I think that will really help as we move forward. And so again, hopefully within the next few months, you'll see that coming up. If any of you are on the old APTA hub, or now what is Communities in the Hub, it'll be very similar to that. It's the same type of system. We've already mentioned the digital learning certificate and registry that will be available for our members. It will also be available for non-members at a significant, but our members will have opportunities for significant discount to participate in those. And obviously if you're not a member, you won't have access to the PhysioU digital learning aspect. And then our staff and our volunteers have just done a phenomenal job with our social media, our YouTube channel, and our podcasts. I'm amazed every day. I'm old. I use Facebook and I do a little bit of the Insta, but I'm seeing more and more things where the Academy is popping up, and it's just really good to see that we're getting out there, and hopefully our members are seeing it and the public is seeing it as well as we share. We have been focusing on strategies to increase member retention. One of those initiatives was to start offering free student membership at the beginning of 2024. Some of the problems with the APTA website, because all of our membership data goes through the APTA, it's been a challenge. And so we haven't advertised that too much yet, because we've had some challenges with the students actually getting the membership free. So once all of that is cleared up, which we're told will happen relatively soon, we'll have a push to obtain more student membership. The challenge then is going to be to get those students engaged, to understand what it is that they would like from the Academy as a student member, and then keep them when their student membership ends and they become early career professionals. That group of individuals, the early career professionals, is probably where we have seen the biggest sort of decline in membership. And a recent APTA survey showed that those are the professionals that are least satisfied with their APTA membership. Now, this only speaks to APTA. It doesn't speak completely to us, but I think we could probably learn from the information that they have received. So we will be looking at ways that we can engage more of our early career professionals, get them involved in the association, and make it more valuable to them. We continue to support all of our special interest groups. We've had a couple of engagement communities added on this year. Well, 2 of them are already started. We have a student engagement group and we have a PTA engagement group. And this year we started a health and wellness engagement community. And so again, those engagement communities are open. They can be really about any specific practice area or area of interest that you have. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think you need about 10 people to get together and say, hey, we'd like to start this community. Have a couple of people that are willing to lead and put together a couple of objectives for that, and then we can make it happen. And I think this really is an area where we have a lot of opportunities for growth and expansion, and developing a network of communities related to maybe it's regional areas of the body or different pathologies. But I think there could be room to really grow here and have a community online that shares information and resources and helps to expand and develop the practice of orthopedic physical therapy. And then lastly, in terms of advocacy, we've heard a lot of what the SIGs were already doing. But I just want to mention again that about 2 years ago, with the APTA private practice, we called it the Payment Consortium was started. It's now called the State Payer Advocacy Resource Consortium, or SPARC. So APTA has joined with us and private practice, and we've started coordinating our efforts more. A lot of what APTA does is looking at advocacy nationally, and so the role of the SPARC was to look more at state payer advocacy options and coordinate our efforts. So the AOPT has been putting about $150,000 a year into this effort, along with APTA private practice. And the next couple of figures that I show you here are actually from Dr. Covington's talk to the APTA House of Delegates. But it's a nice summary of some of the advocacy wins that we've seen over the last year in these efforts with the Payment Consortium and then of course APTA. So we've seen, 2 significant Medicare wins in the last year, increased access to services and a bit of reduced administrative burden. And then I love these 2 visuals. It just shows all of the state legislative wins, and a lot of these we have been involved in over the last year. So you see some of the imaging ones, scope of practice, et cetera. So I think it's just really nice to see. One of the things we hear is that APTA, and our association isn't doing enough about payment, and they really are doing quite a bit. We are doing quite a bit, and I think that those of us who are aware of all of the activities that are going on need to.
I know they're starting them now. Jake has the camera if you set that up.
Okay. And then you can see some of the progress on priorities. So that being said, it is time for our open forum. So I'm going to stop screen sharing. And if anybody has any questions about anything that was presented, please go ahead and put those in the chat. Got a couple of public service announcements in the chat related to the YouTube channel, et cetera. Nancy Durbin suggested inviting the ECs to our next meeting. And yeah, we will do that. Just for time constraints, I didn't want to have too many people presenting today. I wanted to make sure we got done in time.
Judy, I got a question. Bruna Steiner, Imaging. So intriguing little statement here from Sophie Villenguns. As a student, the free membership was a large part of my decision to initially join the APT orthopedic section. Sophie, could you elaborate on what your experience was to being attracted using that feature or that benefit?
Sure. Hi. I'm a second-year PT student at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, and I feel like we get a lot of education about a lot of different things in our courses, but I wanted to learn more about ortho things, and I thought that the sections would be a good way to do it. But some of the other sections that I had interest in, I didn't actually end up joining because as a student, costs are kind of prohibitive to me. So having the free student membership really did make a big difference in me being able to join it regardless of interest. I also know that just talking to some of my other classmates, there are students who haven't joined APTA because it's expensive and we're expected to shoulder that whole burden and cost ourselves, which I don't agree with, but different priorities.
Great, thank you for sharing and welcome. We have your name now, so we're going to be calling on you. Yeah, somebody asked about residents. Unfortunately, no, we don't have a different rate for the residents at this time. Could be definitely something we could talk about in the future, but I think we just have to wait and see. Anything else? All right. Well, as we finish, yeah, Bill, go ahead.
Has his hand.
Yeah, sorry. I know you said the chat box, but this is a question plus. Has there been or will there be any discussions about resuming the business meeting at combined sections meeting versus doing it post CSM? And I understand there's some challenges, there's costs and trying to schedule something at CSM. But it just seems like it's a huge lost opportunity to engage members. And, you know, one of your goals in terms of membership is reaching students. A lot of students attend CSM. And if there's some food and maybe a beer that tends to bring students to meetings. I mean, I do see value of having the Zoom meeting. And it sounds like we have, from what Steve said, 55 to 60 people, but a lot of it's staff and board and SIG presidents. And maybe we do both. I mean, could we have a business meeting at CSM and then an information member meeting post CSM? So my question is that on the table?
Absolutely. It's not on the table yet. It is one of the things actually I would like to talk to the board about. It was one of the things that, as I've been processing and planning the thing, the meeting for the last couple of weeks, I would like to see it go back to being in person at CSM. But you know, I think there are advantages and disadvantages of both. So I certainly appreciate you bringing it up. I know part of it, you know, in 2024, we did it at CSM and we had, you know, the bar open. And that was quite expensive. And because of the financial situation, we decided that we wouldn't do that this year for sure. But I think, you know, if our goal is to bring in members and to engage our members, that, you know, we have the most access to our members at probably CSM. So I think it's definitely worth discussing in the future. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments or questions? All right, hearing
I've got
none.
one just one last thing. So once again, imaging. The membership meetings, I just wanted to pass the information along to the rest of the SIG presidents. I was shocked how much the membership meetings just recorded on Zoom and brought over as a podcast over the AOPT channel on YouTube, how many views this stuff gets. People are starving for content. I think this is a way of galvanizing support for any issues you want to marshal or champion. And there's nothing like having an issue to galvanize community. So if you want, I'd like to reach out to the SIG presidents, and if you want to just see how we do it, I think this is such a worthwhile endeavor. You just need a speaker. People are dying to speak about their research, anything coming out, and they want any sort of opportunity to present. And this is such a nice way to give to our community to present new evidence, emerging trends, whether it's business. You know, I could see Animal SIG having such a kick butt membership meeting. I think it's such a cool discipline. PASIG, oh my God. There's so much content possible, and all of you, and Steve, your occupational health, what can I tell you? You've got serious issues, and you're at the tip of the spear for such great advocacy. So I think, you know, at first it might seem a clumsy affair to hold regular meetings, but I think it's really worthwhile. I think your membership really likes it. I know people actually call me up and go like, hey, when's the next meeting? When's the next meeting? And I just kind of wait because I want some content or emerging evidence. But you'd be shocked with the reaction. I think you'd have a grateful following as a result of this, since we're talking about creating connection and community. So anyways, that's my 2 cents. Thanks.
Thanks, Bruno. Annette.
I'll just back up Bruno's little statement there. I've been there during his meetings, and and they're well attended, but then it's out. It's an amazing amount of more people who attend, go to the YouTube channel. So great content.
Thank you. Anything else? All right. Well, once again, I thank you for spending your evening with us, for your interest and your participation in AOPT Orthopedics. And I hope you all have a great night and a good rest of the week. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Judy. Bye.